Junior Scientific Officer, Anthropometry, Sai NSSC Bangalore. So on behalf of all of us, I take this opportunity to welcome her and request her to take charge of the session. Dr. Tony.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so I'll start with the screen sharing then.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, is it visible?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay. So today I'm going to discuss on body composition of the hockey athletes. Okay. Now, starting off with the introduction, I'll go with the general one first, then I'll go to sports. Okay. Now, when you look at the sedentary population, okay. Now, when we talk about sedentary, we are talking about those people who have got very less physical activity. Okay, you can see that they come in all like different shape and sizes, right? You can see the difference, the diversity, not only in the population also, but in terms of gender, male and female also, you can see the difference. Now, coming to sports person, okay, again, depending on the event also, depending on the game and the event also, the size and the shape will vary. Okay, now, when we look at the sedentary population, okay, suppose you want to find out the health and the fitness, okay, in a sedentary population, those people who have got very less physical activity, then you opt for the BMI test. BMI test is very common, it's like an indicator. Okay, now here we have got certain standards, certain cutoff point where we place a person depending on the height and weight criteria into underweight category, normal weight category, overweight category, and the obese category. So, but one of the main drawback of BMI is it does not distinguish fat and fat-free mass. Okay, as shown in the previous slide also, you will see that it takes into consideration just the height and the weight. Okay, a person obviously in terms of like the structure, it might be totally different also, but they might be placed in the same category. Okay, now in order to assess a sports person, we need to go deeper. Okay, because for a sports person, we are not just considering the health and the fitness, we are considering in terms of the performance, which is in terms of speed, agility, and strength also. Okay, so in order to assess a sports person, we need to go deeper into the tissue level, which is the body composition. Now, what is body composition? You might have heard of fat mass, fat-free mass and all, right? So all the tissue which makes up your body is the body composition only. Okay, we have got a fat mass here. Now, fat mass is of two types. Again, we have the essential fat and the non-essential fat. Essential fat is actually required for your normal body functioning. Okay, it's present in small amount in your body, in the bone marrows, in the central nervous systems, the muscles and organs. Okay, now the non-essential fat actually are the ones which provide, not only provide insulation, but it also is used as a storage during exercise and rest. It's used as an energy reserve. Okay, now non-essential fat you'll find mostly, or there are two types again. We have the visceral fat, which is located mostly around the major organs. It acts as a protective layer. Okay, it gives protection to the major organs like your heart, your lung, kidney, and all. And then we have got the subcutaneous fat, which is distributed throughout your body underneath your skin. Okay, now this subcutaneous fat, the distribution you will find in the upper arm, okay, the abdominal, towards the thigh area also, the calf area. Okay, so that's the non-essential fat we are talking about. Now coming to the fat-free mass. Okay, what is fat-free mass? It includes your muscles, your bones, your water, the weight of the organs, and the connective tissue. Okay, so I forgot actually to ask earlier. So is it okay if I continue in English or do I have to explain it in Hindi also?
I think in English it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can everybody understand?
I hope so.
Okay, sir, can I just get a response from someone, because like
Yeah.
I just, yeah.
But can you unmute others, because others are muted?
Okay, I think Vijesh.
Vijay said
Wait,
he has made you as the host.
just wait. So I can't see that unmute button here. Okay.
Even I don't have it. He told me, Vijay told me that he has made you as the host.
Sir, actually, this thing individually they can unmute themselves,
They can
because
put
I
in
can
the
see,
chat box. Yeah.
yeah, the mute all option
Yeah,
here. Yeah.
I request the participants to unmute if possible, or
Uh,
otherwise put up in the chat box whether you can understand it.
क्या मैं ये पूछना चाह रही थी कि आपको लाइक शुड आई कंटिन्यू इंग्लिश, और लाइक जैसे कि हिंदी में भी बीच में मुझे समझाना पड़ेगा? कैन यू can I get some response? Okay, you're not able to unmute. Okay, fine. Okay, can you just type in the chat box? Do you want it in Hindi or English only?
Both will be better. This is what they said.
Okay, sir. Then in that ways, I'll go. Okay, so I'll start this thing again. Okay, जैसे कि मैं पहले से अभी शुरू कर देती हूँ फिर से, ठीक है? जैसे कि हम बॉडी कॉम्पोजिशन, शरीर संरचना के जैसे हम बात कर रहे थे अभी, ठीक है? तो मैं ये बोल रही थी, जब हम सेडेंटरी पॉपुलेशन, ठीक है, जो सेडेंटरी पॉपुलेशन मतलब जैसे कि जिसका फिजिकल एक्टिविटी कम होता है, अगर उन लोगों को देखा जाए तो आप देख सकते हो कि जनरल पॉपुलेशन पे भी उन लोगों की आकार आकृति काफी अलग होता है, ठीक है? तो ये चीजें आप सिर्फ पॉपुलेशन के हिसाब से भी आपको दिखाई देगा डिफरेंसेस। और फिर जैसे कि एक मर्द और औरत में भी काफी फर्क होता है, ठीक है? तो जब हम स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन को फिर कंसिडर करते हैं, स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन में क्या होता है, जैसे कि गेम और इवेंट के हिसाब से, रिक्वायरमेंट के हिसाब से भी आकार आकृति में काफी फर्क होता है, ठीक है? तो हम ये इस पे बात कर रहे थे। फिर जैसे कि सेडेंटरी पॉपुलेशन जो जैसे कि जिसका फिजिकल एक्टिविटी कम होता है, हम उसका हेल्थ और फिटनेस कैसे असेस करते हैं? हम लोग बीएमआई इस्तेमाल करते हैं, ठीक है? बीएमआई में क्या होता है, आपका जो हाइट और वेट फैक्टर इंक्लूड करता है, ठीक है? जिसपे आप एक पर्सन को सर्टेन कैटेगरी में डाल सकते हो, जैसे कि डिपेंडिंग ऑन द वैल्यू, वेदर वो नॉर्मल कैटेगरी में आ रहे हैं, ठीक है, ओवरवेट कैटेगरी में आ रहे हैं, ओबीस कैटेगरी में आ रहे हैं, ये सब आप असेस कर सकते हो, ठीक है? लेकिन स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन के लिए दूसरा एक और फैक्टर कंसिडर करते हैं, जैसे कि हम लोग को परफॉर्मेंस भी देखना होता है, जैसे कि स्पीड, एजिलिटी, स्ट्रेंथ, ये सब कंसिडर करना होता है। तो बीएमआई उसमें काम नहीं आएगा, क्योंकि बीएमआई पे जो होता है, आपकी जो फैट और फैट फ्री मास का अंतर नहीं करवाते, ठीक है? तो जैसे कि टुवर्ड्स द सुपरफिशियल एरिया वो देखते हैं, टिश्यू लेवल पे नहीं देखते। जब आप स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन को असेस कर रहे हैं तो आपको टिश्यू लेवल पे जाना है, ठीक है? तो ये इस पे काम आएगा आपका शरीर संरचना। तो शरीर संरचना की जब हम इस बारे में बात करते हैं, तो वो जैसे कि सबसे दो इंपॉर्टेंट कंपोनेंट होता है आपका फैट मास और फैट फ्री मास, ठीक है? फैट मास मतलब चर्बी वाला हिस्सा, फैट फ्री मास मतलब बिना चर्बी वाला हिस्सा, ठीक है? तो चर्बी वाला हिस्सा में भी दो तरीके के होते हैं, ठीक है? एक तो एसेंशियल फैट होता है, नॉन एसेंशियल फैट होता है। एसेंशियल फैट आपकी शरीर को चलाने में बहुत ही जरूरत होता है, ठीक है? जैसे कि ये होगा, जैसे कि बहुत ही कम मात्रा में, जैसे कि आपकी बोन मैरो में होगा, ऑर्गेन्स पे होगा, सेंट्रल नर्वस सिस्टम, मसल, इस पे स्टोर होगा, ठीक है? तो नॉन एसेंशियल फैट जो होता है वो हम यूज करते हैं रेस्ट और एनर्जी, रेस्ट और एक्सरसाइज पे एज ए रिजर्व, ठीक है? और ये इंसुलेशन भी देता है। तो ये फिर विसरल फैट के तौर पे होता है, और एक तो होता है सबक्यूटेनियस फैट। जो विसरल फैट होता है आपकी जो मेजर ऑर्गन्स, जैसे कि आपकी हार्ट, लंग्स, किडनी, ये सब प्रोटेक्ट करता है, ठीक है? और सबक्यूटेनियस फैट मतलब जो आपकी चमड़े के नीचे में जो है, ठीक है, इसको सबक्यूटेनियस फैट बोलते हैं। तो ये आपके शरीर के काफी हिस्सों में डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड है, जैसे कि आपकी अपर आर्म, forearm, the trunk area, ठीक है, the thigh, the calf area, ये सब पे distributed होता है, ठीक है. जब हम फैट फ्री मास, बिना चर्बी वाले जो हिस्से के बारे में बात करते हैं, तो उस पे आता है आपका मसल मास, ठीक है, आपका बोन मास, आपका जो हाइड्रेशन का, वाटर का, फिर आपका वेट ऑफ द कनेक्टिव टिश्यू, द ऑर्गन्स, ये सब इस पे आता है, फैट फ्री मास पे. इज इट क्लियर? Now I'll go to the next slide. ठीक है, तो now we have talked about body composition. Okay, now how do we assess body composition? There are different methods for assessing body composition. We have the skin fold method also, okay, and the BIA method also. Now in skin fold method, actually you can assess the overall body composition. Okay, you can do it with a BIA also, the overall one. Okay, now in this actually you can take into consideration the body fat here percentage and the muscle mass. Okay, and the intervention here will be in terms of, like, you know, if you want to formulate any diet plan, okay, you can consult a nutritionist in that one. You can use this data for that one. ठीक है, जैसे कि अभी मैं बोल रही थी शरीर संरचना को एसेस कैसे करेंगे, जब असेसमेंट कैसे होता है एलीट लेवल एथलीट में, ठीक है, आप स्किन फोल्ड से भी कर सकते हो. दूसरा जो होता है हम लोग यूज करते हैं BIA मेथड करके, BIA करके, ठीक है. तो इस पे आप सबसे पहले जो ओवरऑल असेसमेंट पे आप ये देख सकते हो कि बॉडी फैट परसेंटेज कितना है, मसल मास कितना है, ठीक है, उसके हिसाब से आप न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट को कंसल्ट कर सकते हो डाइट प्लान के लिए. Now this is actually used, for example, if you have got an athlete who has got very low amount of body fat percentage, okay, you need to consult a nutritionist for that one. So you need this data for that one in terms of muscle mass also. But I'll go to the next one, so it will give you a clear picture. Okay, now we have got a different way of assessing body composition also. Okay, we have the segmental. Now what is actually segmental? Now segmental actually will divide your body into two equal half. Okay, the mid sagittal plane. Okay, now in segmental you'll get a clear distinction between the right upper arm, okay, the left upper arm, simultaneously for the forearm, the thigh, calf, and I mean in the trunk actually we'll take the overall only. There is no distinction between right and left. Okay, so this data actually you can use for in your strength and conditioning program for an athlete if you want to bring about intervention in that one. Okay, so I'll show the report format also how we use that one. जैसे कि मैं अभी बता रही थी, जैसे कि सेगमेंटल है, दूसरा जो हिस्सा है वो सेगमेंटल होता है, ठीक है. सेगमेंटल ये इस पे इसका मतलब ये है कि हम एक जैसे कि बॉडी को इमेजिनरी जैसे कि दो हिस्से में बांट देते हैं, इक्वल हिस्से में, ठीक है, और जैसे कि राइट लेफ्ट अपर आर्म की जो मसल एरिया, फैट एरिया वो एसेस कर सकते हैं, फोर आर्म का भी सिमिलरली फॉर थाई, calf. Okay, trunk को छोड़ के, trunk का मतलब जो होता है, now when I'm talking about trunk, I'm talking about, you know, the part excluding your head, your limbs, your arms, okay, and your leg part. So that is actually the trunk area. ठीक है, तो ये आप actually जैसे कि अगर in the overall report, okay, you found out कि the muscle mass is less, okay, and you want to exactly see which part of the body actually is lacking behind, so you can go for this analysis, the segmental analysis. It can give you a clear picture. जैसे कि मैंने overall के बारे में बात किया था, overall में आपको idea देगा body fat percentage कितना है, muscle mass कितना है ना. अगर आपको overall में पता चल गया कि जो एक athlete का muscle mass कम है, ठीक है, तो ये सेगमेंटल से आपको पता चल जाएगा कि कौन से हिस्से में कम है और कहां पे आपको इम्प्रूवमेंट करना है, ठीक है. तो इसके लिए हम BIA मेथड इस्तेमाल करते हैं. दिस BIA मेथड एक्चुअली here there is a certain procedure for that one that we follow in the BIA method. First is like 12 hours of fasting. Okay, तो इस पे क्या होता है, आपको this thing, lie down the subject, you have to make sure that the subject lie down in a supine position, that is the face facing upward, okay, and electrodes are actually placed. Now the current actually will pass from proximal to distal, and you have to also make sure that it's a non-conductive surface, possibly on wood, that is, okay. And now it's based on the principle, see if the person has got more amount of muscle, the current flow will be easy to passage, okay. If the person has got more amount of fat, in the body, then there will be a bit of resistance. Okay, तो segmental जो analysis है हम लोग BIA method इस्तेमाल करते हैं. इसमें क्या होता है, एक subject को हम लिटा देते हैं जो सिर के से उसका जो face है ऊपर की तरफ देखना चाहिए, ठीक है. और यूजुअली हम नॉन कंडक्टिव जैसे कि वुडन बेड पे हम लोग उनको लिटा देते हैं. फिर उसके बाद हम इलेक्ट्रोड प्लेस करवाते हैं, ठीक है. और ये इस प्रिंसिपल पे बेस है, जैसे कि अगर बंदे के हिस्से में, शरीर के हिस्से में, कोई इंसान के हिस्से शरीर के हिस्से में अगर मसल मास ज्यादा होता है तो उसका करंट का जो पासेज होगा वो स्मूथ होगा, ठीक है. अगर किसी के शरीर के हिस्से में चर्बी ज्यादा होता है तो उस पर रेजिस्टेंस होगा. Now, see, this is one of the report actually which I wanted to show you because I worked with the junior men that time. It's 2015-16 data. Okay, so this is how we'll use the report. You can see that the overall body composition here. Okay, you can see the body fat percentage here, the muscle mass here. Okay, you can see that earlier the body fat percentage was more and how slowly it has come within the required range. Okay. Also, you can see the fluctuation in the muscle mass a bit, muscle mass also. Okay, this thing earlier it was less. Now towards the end it is increased. Okay. Now look at the report. I have where I've marked red and then green. Now in the first report you can see that the body fat percentage was 14.2%, right? So you can find out through segmental body composition analysis exactly where there's the fat actually area is more. Okay, so you can see towards the end, the body fat percentage is 10%. You can make a comparative report like this. Okay, you can see that compared from the first report, when you can make a comparison with the first report and the last report, the fat area has drastically reduced. Okay, so this is how you will use the segmental body composition analysis data. Okay, overall you can actually consult for the nutritionist, but for strength and conditioning thing, especially if you want to go for the target specific thing, you can go for the segmental body composition analysis. Okay, जैसे कि मैं अभी बता रहे थे, इस रिपोर्ट जो है, इस रिपोर्ट पे आप क्लियरली देख सकते हैं कि मैंने ओवरऑल शरीर संरचना के बारे में इस पे रिपोर्ट पे दिया है. जैसे कि चर्बी का जो परसेंटेज कितना है, ठीक है, मसल मास का कितना है. तो आप सबसे पहले वाले रिपोर्ट पे आप देख सकते हो कि उसकी चर्बी का जो परसेंटेज था 14.2 था, ठीक है. आप लास्ट वाला रिपोर्ट पे देख लो, वो 10% तक लेके आ गया, which is within the required range हॉकी प्लेयर के लिए, ठीक है. मसल मास पे भी आप देख सकते हो, सबसे पहले पे 31.5 था और फिर उसके बाद 34 पे वो लेके आ गया, वो इम्प्रूव हो गया. ओके, तो जैसे कि सबसे पहले हिस्से पे देखो, बॉडी फैट परसेंटेज था 14.2, ठीक है. सेगमेंटल एनालिसिस का एक फायदा है, आप ये बता सकते हो इस एनालिसिस से कि चर्बी का एरिया कौन सी जगह पे ज्यादा है. तो इस पे आप देख सकते हो उसका सबसे ज्यादा था उसकी जो थाई एरिया पे था, ठीक है. आप देख लो फिर जैसे कि टुवर्ड्स द एंड जो लास्ट वाले रिपोर्ट पे 10% आ गया, तो आप देख सकते हो उसकी जो फैट एरिया है कितना कम हो गया. तो आप ऐसे कंपैरेटिव रिपोर्ट आप एक एथलीट का आप देख भी सकते हो. और फिर जैसे कि आप ये भी, इससे आपको ये भी पता चलेगा जो आप ट्रेनिंग इम्प्लीमेंट कर रहे हो उस पर फर्क हो रहा है कि नहीं एथलीट पे, ठीक है. सो दिस इज एक्चुअली इंटरवेंशन बेस्ड थिंग ओनली. नाउ व्हाई इज बॉडी कॉम्पोजिशन असेसमेंट इंपॉर्टेंट? जैसे कि मैंने अभी बताया, एक तो आपको ट्रेनिंग इफेक्टिवनेस आप पता चल जाता है, ठीक है. और स्पेशली जो एथलीट रिहैबिलिटेशन पे है तो उसके लिए भी काफी फायदा है, ठीक है. और बॉडी फैट परसेंटेज फॉर एन elite male hockey player is 6 to 10%, for a female is 12 to 18%. Okay, now muscle mass, it will vary again from one athlete to the other, okay, depending on the proportion, because I cannot give the exact value. For example, if an athlete is towards the say for less than 155 centimeter or around that much, okay, I cannot expect her to have a muscle mass of more than 30 kg. Okay, otherwise she will be suitable for a weightlifting event. So depending again on the proportions and all, we have to give comment for muscle mass. So it will vary from one individual to the other. ओके, तो आप ये देख सकते हैं कि शरीर संरचना का असेसमेंट क्यों करना चाहिए एथलीट पे. एक तो है कि आपको ये पता चलेगा कि जो ट्रेनिंग दे रहे हैं वो इफेक्टिव है कि नहीं एथलीट के लिए, ठीक है. और स्पेशली जो एथलीट रिहैबिलिटेशन पे होता है, उन लोगों के लिए काफ़ी फ़ायदा होता है क्योंकि आप उसका प्रोग्रेस भी चेक कर सकते हो। दूसरा जो है एलीट बॉडी फैट परसेंटेज का जो स्पेशली इन मेल एथलीट्स के लिए एक रेंज होता है जो है 6 से 10%, ठीक है। फीमेल्स के लिए 12 से लेके 18%, ठीक है। मसल मास का मैंने ऐसा स्पेसिफिक इधर नहीं दिया क्योंकि मसल मास जो होगा वो फिर फर्क पड़ेगा एक एथलीट से दूसरे। जैसे कि अगर आपके पास एक एथलीट आया, ठीक है, जिसका लंबाई इतना ज्यादा नहीं है, उसका बिल्ड इतना वो नहीं है, ठीक है, तो हम ये नहीं दे सकते कि उसका मसल मास जो है 30 होना चाहिए ऐसा, क्योंकि अगर वो 30 होते तो वो वेट लिफ्टिंग इवेंट के लिए सही होते हैं, ठीक है। तो उसके हिसाब से हमको प्रोपोर्शंस भी वगैरह भी देखना होता है, उसके हिसाब से हमको कमेंट भी करना होता है। तो इट विल वेरी गेन फ्रॉम वन इंडिविजुअल टू दी अदर, ठीक है। सो दिस इज एक्चुअली एक दो बिसाइड्स द बॉडी कॉम्पोजिशन थिंग विच आई हैव कम अक्रॉस। एक तो है आपका जो स्पेशली फॉर हॉकी प्लेयर, ओके, mostly towards the shorter side. Goalkeeper का तो अलग से बात है, they are mostly taller, okay, but compared to other sports actually you'll see that they are more or less shorter, okay. Now one of the advantage of having this thing is short height is like in hockey players also, ठीक है, उसका जो sitting height है, ठीक है, either towards the medium होता है or it will be a bit longer, okay, because they will have an advantage in terms of running, ओके, क्योंकि उसका सेंटर ऑफ ग्रेविटी होगा नीचे पे होगा, ठीक है। दूसरा चीज होता है स्पेशली आपकी in some of the studies also, research articles also have come across, having a longer arm is actually an advantage, okay, especially for a drag flicker. Actually it's an advantage in terms of, because you have to push the ball, right, so the speed of the ball also will increase, so that's an added advantage. So one or two articles only I've come across for this one, so I'm just discussing with you beside the body composition, okay. Now I've discussed thoroughly for the elite level athlete. Now I wanted to discuss actually for especially those in the adolescence category. Okay, because when you go for this thing in terms of like long-term athletic development plan, you don't start off with an adult, right? You start at the adolescent stage, right? So you do most of the selection at that stage only. So I'm going to discuss on that one. Now, adolescent stage is a very crucial stage. जैसे कि जब हम एक इवेंट के लिए लॉन्ग टर्म एथलेटिक डेवलपमेंट प्लान बना रहे हैं, ठीक है, तो हम लोग सीधा एडल्ट स्टेज पे जब पहुंचते हैं उसको रिक्रूट नहीं करते, हम लोग एडोलेसेंस से शुरू करते हैं, ठीक है। और एडोलेसेंस स्टेज एक ऐसा है जो एक इंसान के लाइफ में सबसे क्रूशियल स्टेज होता है, ओके। क्यों होता है मैं उसके बारे में अभी डिस्कस करूंगी, बिकॉज सी एडोलेसेंस इज द स्टेज वेयर यू नो द एडोलेसेंस ग्रोथ स्पर्ट टेक प्लेस, okay. What is adolescence growth spurt? Adolescence growth spurt is a spurt. In adolescence growth spurt, there is a rapid acceleration in the rate of growth in terms of your height and in terms of your weight. Okay. Now, adolescence growth spurt, it will take place earlier in male. The onset will be earlier in male. Female, sorry. The onset will be earlier in female, okay, that is 11 to 13 years old, and later in male, that is 13 to 15 years old, okay. Now, adolescence growth spurt. As I mentioned earlier, the main highlight is the rapid acceleration in the rate of growth, okay. Now, the first thing, the first highlight will be in terms of the rapid acceleration in the rate of growth in terms of height here, okay. There will be an increased rapid acceleration, this increase in terms of height here, okay. Now, what happened is like in females actually, okay, the increase in height may be around 9 centimeter per year, okay, and in males it might be around say 10 centimeter per year. Now, this might last actually for 2 to 3 years in a person. Again, why I'm giving the range of 2 to 3% is because it will vary from one person to the other, and no two individual will experience it at the same time. It will vary from one individual to the other. Okay. Now, after the peak height velocity, your peak weight velocity will set in. Okay, that is after a gap of 3 to 6 months. Now, the peak weight velocity is very crucial because that's the stage, okay, where major changes in terms of your composition take place. Okay, you can see a clear-cut difference where the males actually starts will get more muscular. Okay, now in females also there will be deposition of muscle mass, but compared to the males it will be less. Okay, again there will be deposition of fat in the females. Okay, जैसे कि मैं अभी बता रही थी, जो एडोलेसेंस ग्रोथ स्पर्ट होता है, ठीक है, वो एक बहुत ही क्रूशियल स्टेज होता है जिसपे वृद्धि की गति बहुत तेजी से बढ़ती है. ठीक है, इस पे जो दो मेन फीचर्स है आपका जो है पीक हाइट वेलोसिटी और पीक वेट वेलोसिटी. ठीक है, पीक हाइट वेलोसिटी पे आपकी वृद्धि की जो गति होता है लंबाई को लेके बहुत तेजी से होता है. ठीक है, और पीक वेट मतलब वजन को लेके बहुत तेजी होता है. ठीक है, तो एडोलेसेंस ग्रोथ स्पर्ट्स जो होता है वो फीमेल में पहले शुरू हो जाता है 11 से 13 इयर्स. ठीक है, और मेल उसके बाद शुरू होता है 13 से लेके 15 साल पे उम्र पे. ठीक है, तो ये मेन फीचर क्या है, जैसे कि जब कोई इंसान पीक हाइट वेलोसिटी स्पेशली फीमेल्स पे, ठीक है, तो ये स्टेज जा रहा है, तो उसमें क्या होगा, उसकी लंबाई के जो इंक्रीज होगा 9 सेंटीमीटर पर ईयर होगा ऑन एन एवरेज. ठीक है, और लड़कों में जो होगा 10 सेंटीमीटर पर ईयर there will be an increase. और ये जो है 2 से 3 साल तक रहेगा, और एक इंसान से दूसरे इंसान को आप कंपेयर ही नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि सब अपने एज आई मेंशन अर्लियर एक ही टाइम पे नहीं होगा. ठीक है, वो एक इंसान से अगर दूसरे इंसान को आप कंपेयर करोगे वो अलग अलग टाइमिंग पे चलेगा. ठीक है, तो जैसे कि पीक हाइट वेलोसिटी खत्म होता है तो 2-3 से लेके 6 महीने के बाद आपका पीक वेट वेलोसिटी सेटिंग होता है. पीक वेट वेलोसिटी क्यों इंपॉर्टेंट है, पीक वेट वेलोसिटी में मेन जो फीचर्स है जैसे कि आपका जो शरीर संरचना को लेके. ठीक है, जैसे कि आप देख सकते हो मर्द में क्या होता है, उनका मसल मास ज्यादा बढ़ेगा. ठीक है, फीमेल्स में भी बढ़ेगा लेकिन मर्द से लेके काफी कम होगा, और चर्बी का जो डिपोजिशन होगा फीमेल्स में ज्यादा होगा. तो ये काफी फर्क आपको इस पे नजर आएगा. ठीक है, और one of the key features why I discuss about adolescence growth spurt is like, see, I mentioned clearly that no two individual will experience it at the same time. Okay, now here comes the role of early mature, average mature, and the late mature. Okay, now you can see here, I'm giving the example of a female here. Okay, one female, actually she's 13 years old, the other is 12.9, almost similar. Okay, now you can see that in one, actually the age at peak height velocity has set it at 10.9. Okay, she is an early mature. Okay, now in her case, as I mentioned earlier, okay, once the peak height velocity is set in, it can last for 2 to 3 years. It will vary from one individual to the other. Okay, now in this case you can see in terms of the composition changes is already taken place. Okay, you can see that the position of, wait. Okay, now in this case you can see that the deposition of fat is there. Okay, body fat percentage is more in this female. Okay, and also the muscle mass is quite good for her age. Now let's compare again with the other slide here. Okay, here the age at peak height velocity for this girl is 12.7. Now the current age is 12.9. Okay, that means that the peak height velocity has just set in for the girl. Okay, she's a late maturer. Okay, now you can see in terms of the body fat percentage also, it's 16.5. Okay, which is good. That means in her case, okay, the changes in terms of composition is not set in the major changes. Okay, now in terms of the muscle mass, you can see 16.7. Okay, now here when I'm giving the comment, I have to take the maturity status into consideration here. Okay, why? Because in her case, okay, the peak weight velocity has not set in. Okay, here I've considered her as an early mature, and I've given the comment that the muscle mass is good for her age. Okay, because the peak weight velocity might have set in the other girl. Okay, so this you have to consider, all this you have to consider, and it plays a very crucial role. I'm not, one thing also I would clearly like to say is like adolescence growth spurt is very crucial because we are talking in terms of rapid acceleration in the rate of growth. Okay, it does not mean that the growth does not happen before that, it happens, but there will be a rapid acceleration only in the adolescence growth spurt. Okay, तो जैसे कि मैं अभी ये comparative एक दिखा रहे थे, एडोलेसेंस ग्रोथ स्पर्ट होता है, ठीक है, इस पे वृद्धि की गति बहुत तेजी से होता है। मैं ये नहीं बोल रही हूँ कि वृद्धि जो है ग्रोथ जो होता है उससे पहले नहीं होता है, लेकिन इस पे क्या होता है, काफी तेजी से होता है, ठीक है, इसलिए ये बहुत ही क्रूशियल होता है, ठीक है। और इस पे आप देख सकते हो कि एडोलेसेंस ग्रोथ स्पर्ट का रोल क्या है, ठीक है, आप क्लियरली डिस्टिंक्शन कर सकते हो एक अर्ली मैच्योर बच्चे पे, एक लेट मैच्योर और एक एवरेज मैच्योर बच्चे पे, ठीक है। आप इस पे देख लो, ठीक है, जिस पे पीक हाई वेलोसिटी सेट इन हो गया 10.9 पे, ठीक है। और ये इस बच्चे का करंट एज है 13.1 ईयर्स, दूसरे का है 12.9, ठीक है। तो आप इस पे इजिली कंपेयर कर सकते हो, उसका एज एट पीक हाइट वेलोसिटी है 10.9, दैट मीन्स उसका पीक हाइट वेलोसिटी ऑलरेडी सेट इन भी हो गया, खत्म भी हो गया होगा, और उसका पीक वेट वेलोसिटी सेट इन हो गया, क्योंकि इस पे आप कॉम्पोजिशन संरचना को लेके उसका वैल्यू से पता लगा सकते हैं, क्योंकि उसका बॉडी फैट परसेंटेज थोड़ा ज्यादा भी है, मसल मास भी अच्छा है उसके एज के हिसाब से, ठीक है। लेकिन आप ये देख लो, शी इज एन अर्ली मैच्योर। नाउ सिमिलरली अगर आप इस साइड पे देखोगे, ठीक है, ये दूसरा बच्चा है 12.9 ईयर्स, ठीक है। तो इस पे आप देख सकते हो कि उसका एज एट पीक हाइट वेलोसिटी सेट इन होने वाला है 12.7, अभी उसका उम्र है 12.9, दैट इज उसका पीक हाइट वेलोसिटी अभी शुरू हुआ है, ठीक है। तो आप इस पे देख सकते हो उसकी कॉम्पोजिशन में काफी फर्क है, अगर आप दूसरे बच्चे पे कंपेयर करोगे, दैट इज लाइक उसका बॉडी फैट परसेंटेज है 16.5 और उसका मसल जो है 16.7। तो जब हम ये कमेंट दे रहे हैं, स्पेशली एज अ स्पोर्ट्स साइंटिस्ट, ओके, हमें ये ध्यान रखना होता है उसका मेच्योरिटी स्टेटस को कंसिडर करते हुए, ठीक है, अदरवाइज इट विल बी अनफेयर फॉर द किड, ठीक है, क्योंकि मुझे ये तो पता चल गया वो लेट मेच्योर है, ठीक है, तो इसका मतलब है उसका पीक हाइट वेलोसिटी अभी सेट इन हो गया, 2 साल के बाद शायद 2 से 3 साल तक रहेगा शायद वो, ठीक है, उसके बाद ही उसका पीक वेट वेलोसिटी आएगा, तभी उस पर काफी फर्क आएगा इन टर्म ऑफ कॉम्पोजिशन। जबकि ये बच्चे का उसका पीक हाइट वेलोसिटी सीज हो गया है, ठीक है, और उसका पीक वेट वेलोसिटी सेट इन हो गया है, तो इसलिए काफी आप जो जो डिफरेंस है आपको क्लियरली इससे पता लगा सकते हैं। Okay, so this adolescence growth spurt, that's why in order to understand that, it's very crucial. Okay, why is it crucial? Because you have to uh, monitor, okay, monitor the athletes, especially the maturity level, you have to monitor the athletes, okay, because your training, your competition and the recovery program will all be designed based on that one only, and not on the chronological age. Okay, now I would like to highlight certain research articles here that I've come across. Okay, now in terms of speed and agility, okay, especially with regard to male, because mostly in males actually people have done research on that one. Okay, now speed and agility have been shown, okay, to start like, just what's that, 12 months before the onset of the peak height velocity, and it will reach its peak at its peak, okay, when the peak height velocity sets in. Okay, once a peak height velocity set in, there will be a plateau. Okay, now the reason behind it, this is like once the peak height velocity sets in, okay, now you must have heard of the growth plate, the epiphyseal plate, which is located at the end of the long bones, right? So when you're experiencing the peak height velocity, okay, your bones will elongate, okay, and your tendons will also elongate. It will draw the muscle and increase the normal resting tension, okay. So one of the main factors is like your muscle will have a bit of difficulty, okay, in contracting with the same amount of force before the growth spurt. Now growth spurt पे जैसे कि मसल कंट्रैक्ट कर रहे थे उसके जैसा नहीं होगा जब पीक हाइट वेलोसिटी सेट इन हो जाएगा, ठीक है. So this is one of the differences actually. Now also when it comes to strength training, okay, strength training actually research has again shown, especially for males, I'm going to highlight here, okay, it's best improved like you can start off 12 to 18 months after the peak height velocity. In females actually I've seen some studies with the onset of the peak height velocity you can start it, okay. Speed and agility in terms of like there's lots of variation in females, okay, research has shown that there are lots of variation in female for the onset of that one. ओके जैसे कि मैं अभी बता रही थी आपको स्पेशली ओके मेच्योरिटी लेवल एक एथलीट का आपको मॉनिटर करना है, क्योंकि इसके हिसाब से आप ट्रेनिंग दोगे, ठीक है, रिकवरी प्रोग्राम आप डिजाइन कर सकते हो, क्योंकि वो डेवलपमेंट एक बच्चे का डेवलपमेंटल एज पे बेस होगा, ना कि उसकी क्रोनोलॉजिकल एज पे। जैसे कि मैं अभी बता रही थी, जैसे कि काफी सारे ऐसे रिसर्च आर्टिकल पाए गए हैं, ठीक है, जिसपे ये बताया गया है कि जैसे कि बच्चे के स्पीड और एजिलिटी, स्पेशली जो मेल्स होते हैं, ठीक है, उन लोगों का डेवलप कर सकते हो आप 12 महीने, जब पीक हाइट वेलोसिटी का ऑनसेट से पहले, ठीक है, और जब पीक हाइट वेलोसिटी के टाइम पे हो रहा होगा तो वो अपने पीक पे रहेगा, जब पीक हाइट वेलोसिटी सेट इन हो जाएगा तो वो प्लेट्यू पे रहेगा, ठीक है। इसका कारण भी है क्योंकि जैसे कि आपका ग्रोथ प्लेट होता है वो सबसे सेंसिटिव और इट्स एक्चुअली कंसिडर्ड द वीकेस्ट पार्ट, ठीक है। तो आपकी जो हड्डी के जो लॉन्ग बोन्स के एंड पे होता है, जब आप when you're experiencing the peak height velocity, ठीक है, वो बहुत ही सेंसिटिव स्पॉट होता है। जब आपकी हड्डी जो है ग्रो इलोंगेट करो, ठीक है, तो आपकी टेंडन्स जो होता है वो भी इलोंगेट करते हैं, ठीक है, तो आपके जो मसल्स होता है उसको भी खींचता है, ठीक है, तो आपकी मसल्स की जो नॉर्मल रेस्टिंग टेंशन होगा वो इंक्रीज हो जाएगा, ठीक है। और जैसे पहले की मसल कंट्रैक्ट कर रहे थे, ठीक है, पीक हाइट वेलोसिटी से पहले जब जैसे कंट्रैक्ट करते वो ऐसे स्मूथली वो काम नहीं करेगा, ठीक है। तो दिस इज एक्चुअली वन ऑफ द रीजन ऑल्सो। और स्टडीज पे ये भी पाया गया है कि स्पेशली स्ट्रेंथ ट्रेनिंग को लेके, ठीक है, मेल्स पे आप शुरुआत कर सकते हैं जैसे कि 12 से 18 महीने आफ्टर पीक हाइट वेलोसिटी। फीमेल्स में ये पाया गया है कि जब आप ऑनसेट ऑफ पीक वेट वेलोसिटी पे उस पर आप स्ट्रेंथ ट्रेनिंग शुरू करवा सकते हैं। इन टर्म ऑफ स्पीड एंड एजिलिटी में स्पेशली फीमेल्स को लेके काफी वेरिएशन है, रिसर्च ने दिखाया। तो स्पेसिफिकली उन लोगों ने वो जो व्हाट्स दैट विंडो जो है, ठीक है, वो क्लियरली नहीं बताया गया। So that's the end of the presentation. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Dr. Anthony, I request the participants, if you have anything to be clarified, you can ask the speaker.
Okay, sir, I think I have this thing. I got an option where you can unmute all. So I have unmute.
Yeah, if you can unmute
I give
others.
the option. Yeah, you can unmute. Yeah, it's possible
Yeah.
now, sir. Can any one of you try?
Yes, madam. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there is one question
Yes, sir,
from my
please
side.
go.
जी, आपने आपने अपना स्टडी में बताया कि बॉडी फैट परसेंटेज जो है आपके अपने दिसंबर 15 के अंदर में जो है 14.2 से 10% पे सितंबर 16 में आया। मीन्स यू टुक द 9 मंथ्स। हाँ, ओके। नाउ आई वांट टू आस्क कि रिगार्डिंग 9 मंथ्स के अंदर में व्हाट प्रोसीजर यू हैव अडॉप्टेड, आइदर डाइट कंट्रोल और ट्रेनिंग और एनी सप्लीमेंट्स?
सर देखो, हमने I work actually with a scientific advisor for the junior hockey team that time. I think Cody was the one who was a scientific advisor. ठीक है, तो वो लोग कैंप पे क्या होता है सर, हर वक्त नहीं होता, वो लोग सर्टेन ड्यूरेशन पे आते हैं, है ना। तो जब इनिशियली कैंप शुरू होता है तभी हम असेसमेंट कर देते, तो तभी आप देख सकते हो जब शुरुआत में जो आया था, ठीक है, तो उसका 14% था। लेकिन मैं ये बता सकती हूँ कि उसने जो साइंटिफिक एडवाइजर ने न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट का तो हेल्प लिया ही, लेकिन उसने स्ट्रेंथ एंड कंडीशनिंग प्रोग्राम पे काफी उस पर जोर दिया, जिसके वजह से आप देख सकते हो ग्रेजुअली उसका जो एथलीट का जो है उसका बॉडी फैट परसेंटेज उस रेंज पे आ गया।
नहीं, आप ठीक कह रहे हैं। मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि 9 महीना आपका 5 साल पहले का स्टडी में लगा, तो 9 महीने के अंदर में जो अडॉप्टेशन था वो सप्लीमेंट्स था या ट्रेनिंग भी था या आपका डाइट भी था या ऑल तीनों चीजें थी?
सर इट्स अ कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ ऑल, और
कॉम्बिनेशन।
एक एथलीट के ऊपर भी होता है वो तो।
ओके ओके, थैंक यू।
थैंक यू सर।
Yeah, any other questions from the participants? Yeah, participants can unmute yourself or you can put up the question in the chat box.
So I would prefer actually if we have a one-to-one interaction, because like we have given the option to unmute.
Yeah, that's why if they can
Yes,
unmute
sir.
themselves and they can ask, well and good. Otherwise, they can put up in the chat box.
Otherwise, sir, can I have a discussion?
Yeah, please, you can have the discussion. Yeah.
Because most of the senior coaches also are here, so I just want to have a discussion. So, see,
Yeah.
I wanted to know exactly, like, it will be in terms of proportions only. I wanted to discuss on that one. Okay. Now, for a hockey player, especially for a midfielder, okay, sir. Now, what should be the leg length? Leg length, considering the length of the femur and the length of the tibia also. Should it be equal or should it be one should be more than the other? आपको क्वेश्चन समझ में आ रहा है? जैसे कि मैं अभी बता रही थी, जैसे कि मैं प्रोपोर्शंस को लेके बता रही हूँ, जैसे कि लेग का जो हिस्सा होता है, ठीक है, जैसे कि स्पेशली मिडफील्डर के लिए लेग का लेंथ ओवरऑल कैसे कितना होना चाहिए, लंबा होना चाहिए या कम होना चाहिए, और दूसरे जो है सर, जैसे कि अगर लेग लेंथ कंसिडर कर रहे हैं तो इसमें जो फीमर का जो लेंथ ज्यादा होना चाहिए या टीबिया का जो लेंथ है वो ज्यादा होना चाहिए. Can anybody throw some insight into that one? Because like even me also I'm a bit curious. Yeah, anyone. Okay.
वो कहाँ है कान का मैं कहूँगी अभी मैं देखा रही आई अब कल से नहीं आऊंगी कल से क्लास खत्म हो रहा है नहीं
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Anybody want to? Who can have answer for this?
आप लोग अपने अनम्यूट कर सकते हो क्योंकि ऑप्शन तो खुल गया है
मैं
शायद.
क्यों उठाऊंगी
Yeah, Madam Neelam Kapoor, would you like to ask?
I mean I've just muted her sir because I think she's having a conversation with someone. So can any of the Kasi sir, can you just can you throw some insight into that one if possible?
Yeah, madam. Since field hockey, we request more of bending while taking push or drag flick anything, right? It's better, right? We have the leg length medium. I think I feel better, right?
Okay, sir. And what about the length of the femur and the tibia, sir?
Yeah, I think the ratio should be, I think equal. It's fine.
Okay.
Madam, I think they are telling still they are not able to unmute.
Okay, can you just check the option because it's yeah.
Check. Yeah, I have already unmute themselves. They can.
Yeah, they can.
Hello, ma'am. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
First of all, thank you. That was really a very fruitful session.
Thank you.
So actually, what would you like to know about? You want to compare the midfielders and strikers and defenders leg length and what? Please.
Specifically, see, for a hockey player, since it's all about speed and agility, right? So I wanted to know exactly, like, for a midfielder, okay, what should be the leg length, okay? And considering the leg length, the contributing factor is the length of femur and the tibia again, right? That constitute the leg length. So I wanted to know whether, like, the femur should be more or the tibia should be more. Which one will be an advantage, or should it be equal?
I think actually we don't have that much of a study because we are coaches and not that deep study has been given to us. But
Okay.
if you're talking about the midfielders,
Okay.
so there is a very contradiction. At present in India, we have one Vivek Prasad who's very short heightened,
Hmm.
and also some of the players are like 5'7", 5'8". Some
Hmm.
of and even Neil Kanta Sharma, who's also a short heightened.
Hmm.
So if I'm talking about the reaching ability, then of course there is a different issue. Of course, the short and height players have a short reach, but they have a more acceleration quality. So like Vivek Prasad he's very quick.
Hmm.
Neil Kanta is very quick. But if we talk about a little bit more taller person, they don't have that much of quickness in compared to the short and height people.
Okay.
So, but if you talk about the leg length, exactly, I don't have that much of specifications that how should be long tibia or how should be long the leg length. I think, as Kashi sir said, we supposed to be like that. It should be equal, or
Yeah,
maybe you can throw some more light on it. That
I
is
was.
it any different? Is it make any difference if
It
the
will
length
be
of the legs is more or shorter?
actually. It will be. See, if you look at other sports also, okay, having always having an equal length is an advantage because it will reduce the chance of injury also. Okay. Now, why? Because since hockey is a game where you always have to crouch, right? We have to be running and all. So one thing is, like, if you have got longer femur, it will be a disadvantage. Okay. Now, again, having a longer tibia also will be a disadvantage, right? Now, if the tibia is actually longer, okay, then you can just imagine ki the person won't be able to crouch this thing. What's the word actually to use? Um, in a
To
correct
bend
way.
forward.
Yeah, you bend. So now, similarly, if the tibia length is excessive long, then more stress on the tibia chances are there, and chances of fracture also are there. So having equal length is obviously a disadvantage in terms of like injury prevention. And as Kasi sir also mentioned, okay, having a medium trunk, that is, okay, having an equal, that is like if the trunk is actually equal to the length of the leg, that is also an advantage. Or if it's a bit longer, also it's an advantage. Okay, so it's like that because since it's a game where your COG is involved, so it will be an advantage that ways. And having a long arm definitely is an advantage.
Long
And if
arm,
it
long
if
arm.
it
For that, it's an advantage.
long arm again with this thing, especially the longer forearm.
Yeah.
Okay, because you have got two section again when you're talking about arm, you have got the upper arm and the forearm. So you having an this thing a bit longer forearm is definitely an advantage again.
Okay.
And one more thing actually I would like to share is like I've seen actually the difference in a calf circumference, especially of a midfield and a forward. It's very different. The calf circumference of a midfielder actually it's much more developed, much more pronounced actually compared to that of a forward. So it's like quite an interesting find also how adaptation actually take place that ways.
I think if you look, it's also came from the reason wise as well. So the Neil Kanta Sharma is a very famous person for his calf actually.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
He came from northeast, and usually the hill region people has established calf muscles as well.
Yeah, that is
But if you
the
look at
team.
Captain Manpreet and Vivek and
Mhm.
all these midfielders, even the Chinglin Sana, he is also a good calf muscle. Uh, but if you look at the strikers, they are more lean
Yes.
than the midfielders.
Hmm.
So maybe it could be a reason uh, for the calf muscles.
How like the game position again, the differences in actually the calf actually brings out, that is very interesting actually, because even me also, when I was doing assessment for this thing, the national team, it's actually purely based on observation only, my observation only. I found that like there was a huge variation not only in this thing, the calf circumference, but also in the forearm also. Okay, there was a bit of like differences like that actually. It was quite an interesting find actually.
What I think it's need a study, more study. We don't
Yeah,
have that
that
study.
is
I can
required.
tell you only on the basis of the positions and from where they came and their body structure, their whole composition of body. But I don't know about how much study we have that what is the impact of strikers and being midfielders and the defenders, all their body parts do. Usually, if you look at the deep defenders in our team, so like Rupinder Pal, Surinder,
Mm-hmm.
but even if you look the Virender Lakra, he's very short height and very small lead person, but he's a very good defender. Because now is the scenario is completely changed. A striker even come into the circle to defend, and even the defenders also going in the attack and
Yes.
till to the attacking circle.
Mm-hmm.
So the scenario is completely changed, I think, and that's why you will find a mixed body composition players as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's because they're going to play. They are like not involved only in midfield, but in defense also and in forward also. There is a shift actually, which I saw. But in females actually, especially the thigh circumference is comparatively more actually.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think Mr. Chauhan maybe can put some light on it because he worked a lot with the women's team as well. But you are right. I think their thigh circumferences is more in the women's. Right.
And when we are doing assessment, actually, like I was showing you the segmental report. So we take into consideration, see if the thigh area, muscle area is this much. We take into consideration the calf muscle area also. It should not be like the calf thigh muscle area is like, at a different this thing, and the calf muscle area is a different where it's not able to support actually. So all this thing also we take into consideration when we are giving the report. For example, a person has got a calf circumference, thigh muscle area of 215. Okay, I cannot expect him to have a calf muscle area of like, say, around 67 or 68. Okay, it should be around 80 to 90. So all this also you can look into.
So if you look at the like Lalit and even the Mandeep,
Hmm.
these two are the strikers. If you look at their calf circumferences, it's very small.
Hmm.
How much is there? But maybe if you got chance to examine them, then you will get to know. And it's a huge difference between Neelkanta's circumferences, calf circumferences, and these two strikers.
Individually I have to assess, because see, it depends actually. I won't consider just a calf, but I have to look at the thigh also, then I'll get a better picture.
So it's same. So like Neelkanta, he has a big thigh as well,
Yes, yes.
and the big calf as well. So it's of course it's a composition. I think it's a composition thing.
And one thing also I noticed, especially those athletes who have got like uh, early sign of like back pain, or a bit of like knee pain and all this thing. There are changes actually in the segmental only. Okay, you'll find a bit of changes, especially in the thigh area. it will start developing actually there, the changes there. You can see, because I've seen when I was doing assessment for volleyball, actually, I could see the clear changes, especially for an athlete who had a history of like back pain, but she was not like, revealing actually to the coach then. So you can make out certain things through that also.
Thank you, doctor. It was really a good discussion with you. I
Thank you.
hope the other coaches may also jump into that conversation. It's really a nice conversation. Thank you so much, doctor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Piyush Kumar Dubey. I think Mr. our Olympian MK Kaushik sir also with us. If sir can unmute and he can interact with a guest speaker, we will welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Saab. I'm happy to enjoy this informative session, and Madam is very good. But my opinion about this is that the physical abilities are different issues than the attacker defender. As Vivek Sagar and comparison is going on, they all are playing every position. They go on attack, and this comparison cannot be between comparison cannot be related to the attacker or defender. It is physical abilities, and on top, the physical ability demand is there. Calf muscle, thigh muscle has to be strong to take the load of it. So it is individually you test and then give them the training so that they can develop. And that aspect of what you said, attack and defense, what diagnose, what doctorate we have done, I don't know, but in fullback goes up and my defender goes back. So, and physique, if you look at physique of attacker in defense, remains the same, no, but effect is his sense, game sense, knowledge. So it's related to that, physical abilities are helpful. And the tests are conducted to grow them up in the same situation and in groups, right?
Yes.
Right.
Sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Nice.
That's actually a really good suggestion, sir. My take also is on that we should individually assess.
Yeah. Individual assessment is for the growth, for the training program to make for them individually and groups.
Implement.
Because in Team K, what happens? We cannot give a program in groups. We give them individual load. So for that matter, it helps.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Kaushik sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for the input, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for calling me.
Thank you, sir. Now I request other participants, please, you can interact with the madam.
Sorry, sir. I have other engagement. If you allow me to leave.
Please carry on, Mr. Piyush Kumar Dubey.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Is there any other participants who would like to clarify anything? Dr. Tony?
Yes, sir. Sir, before I leave, I just want to add one thing here.
Yeah,
okay.
Please.
We are talking in terms of the optimum range, even for body fat percentage also. Okay, but again, that one also we have to assess individually. It purely depends on the coach observation again. Okay, now what actually the athlete is performing at the optimum, when the body fat percentage is at the optimum, how is it this thing influencing the performance? That is purely based on observation of the coach. Even though I'm giving a range of like 12 to 18 for a female athlete, okay, individually you have to assess. She might be performing the best when it's 14, okay, or 13, 15. So individual assessment and observation is actually very important.
Yeah, that's correct.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Athoni. I think there is no more question, no more interaction. I think we can close the session.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. On behalf of all the participants, I thank Dr. Athoni Risto, Bangalore, for her valuable and informative session. Thank you, Dr. Athoni.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. I think with